They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here, and y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Caitlin Clark, right? The WNBA's golden goose, the ratings phenom, the one who single-handedly dragged women's basketball into the mainstream. Her name has been buzzing, not just in sports circles, but everywhere, on social media, in morning shows, even sparking debates at the dinner table. But what if I told you the league had this golden ticket, this once-in-a-generation celebrity, and they didn't just fumble it, they arguably threw it away? Because the latest news, her sudden quad strain injury sidelining her for at least 2 weeks, isn't just bad luck. It's the painful, inevitable consequence of a league that, from day one, seemed to fail to protect, appreciate, and properly promote the very star who almost single-handedly built their future. And the fallout? It's about to be massive. So, buckle up because we're diving into the real story of how the WNBA's biggest moment might just be slipping through their fingers. Let's rewind for a second. Before Caitlin Clark, women's basketball, especially the WNBA, occupied a very specific niche. It had its dedicated fans, its loyal viewership, and a passionate core. But it wasn't a mainstream spectacle. It certainly wasn't drawing casual viewers in droves, nor was it consistently filling arenas or dominating sports headlines outside of major playoff runs. Then came Caitlin. Like a meteor streaking across the night sky, she arrived. Her college career at Iowa was a blur of record-breaking threes, half-court heroics, and a magnetic personality that drew in millions. She wasn't just a player, she was a cultural event. Her final college games were pulling in astronomical numbers, shattering viewership records that even some men's sports would envy. People who'd never watched a minute of women's basketball were suddenly glued to their screens, captivated by her audacity, her skill, and her sheer, undeniable star power. This wasn't just a player being drafted, it was the arrival of a phenomenon, and the WNBA, for the first time in its history, had a true, undeniable box office attraction. But here's where the story takes a perplexing turn. Instead of embracing her, instead of rolling out the red carpet and building an entire marketing campaign around this unprecedented surge of attention, the WNBA seemed hesitant. You could almost feel the friction. As Clark entered the league, bringing with her a spotlight brighter than anything these veteran players had ever experienced, an uncomfortable undercurrent of resentment began to simmer. It wasn't just about her talent, it was about the sudden, overwhelming attention she garnered, seemingly overnight. Whispers started circulating. We heard it from some seasoned players, some former pros, and even some commentators. The sentiment was often along the lines of, "We've been here grinding for years, playing incredible basketball, and nobody paid attention. Now this young white girl comes along, and suddenly everyone wants to shower praise and attention that we feel was earned long before she ever arrived." Now, let's be clear. The frustration from veteran players is, on a human level, somewhat understandable. They've poured their lives into this league, fought for recognition, battled for better pay and conditions, often in relative obscurity. To suddenly see one rookie become the face of everything, to be credited with bringing the very spotlight they've always craved, must be a bitter pill to swallow for some. But, as Stephen A. Smith, who we'll get to in a moment, passionately argued, this resentment wasn't about Caitlin Clark herself. It was about what she represented, a sudden, massive shift in attention and opportunity that perhaps felt undeserved to those who had paved the way. Yet, this internal friction, this subtle, and sometimes not so subtle animosity, created a bizarre dynamic. Instead of harnessing this unprecedented energy, the league and some within it seemed almost allergic to fully embracing their golden ticket. They downplayed her impact, they avoided overtly promoting her as the star, and they allowed an atmosphere of competitive skepticism to fester. And this is where Stephen A. Smith, ESPN's resident hype machine, and often its truth teller, stepped in. While others in the league and media were giving us polite shrugs or trying to maintain a facade of, it's about the league, not one player, Stephen A came in like a human Molotov cocktail, torching every bad take and every bad decision that led us here. He didn't just comment, he went DEFCON 1. He'd been watching it all build up for months. Clark's star soaring, the league quietly downplaying her, the vets side-eyeing her like she took the last slice of pizza. And Stephen A, armed with facts and a fiery delivery, was the lone voice screaming from the rooftops, demanding that everyone recognize the undeniable truth. Caitlin Clark was the show. He wasn't just offering opinions, he was laying down receipts. And the numbers, my friends, don't lie. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA was nothing short of revolutionary. Her games this season were consistently pulling an average of 1.178 million viewers. Now, compare that to games without her, which often plummeted to just 394,000 viewers. That's not a drop, that's a free fall. That's a 3 times crater. In viewership, when she's not on the court, it's like turning off the stadium lights mid-game. And it wasn't just TV ratings. Fanatics, the sports merchandise giant, reported a staggering 100% increase in sales for WNBA-specific merchandise, and it all started with Caitlin Clark. Her jersey was flying off the shelves, outselling nearly every other player in the league, combined. But wait, there's more. Attendance figures were equally mind-blowing. Thanks to Clark, the Indiana Fever, a team that previously played to relatively empty arenas, led the league in attendance both at home and on the road. They averaged 17,035 fans at home, a monumental 319% increase from the year before. On the road, they were pulling in over 15,000. Do you know what that means? 4 different teams actually moved their home games to bigger arenas when the Indiana Fever came to town, just to accommodate the sheer demand to see Caitlin Clark play. This wasn't just an increase, it was an unprecedented explosion of interest, directly tied to one player. And yet, the league's leadership, particularly Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, seemed to miss the forest for the trees. Her entire Clark-related strategy could be summed up as, thanks for the ratings, I guess. It was like finding a genie in a bottle and wishing for a slightly larger bottle. There was no full-throttle marketing blitz, no overt celebration of their newfound superstar. It was a baffling, head-scratching hesitancy to acknowledge what everyone else was already witnessing.
The Indiana Fever announced that star Caitlin Clark will be out at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain. Clark reported some pain in her leg Saturday after the team's loss to the New York Liberty. She subsequently underwent an MRI and was diagnosed with the strain on Monday.
Unfortunately, though, the celebration in the WNBA, it was cut short yesterday afternoon as WNBA players learned the harsh lesson: be careful what you wish for. Headline at the New York Post: Caitlin Clark sidelined with Indiana Felines announcing shock injury. Keyword: shock. This injury was shocking, but not for reasons that you may think.
And then, the inevitable. After weeks of watching Clark get slammed, hacked, elbowed, and borderline assaulted every single night with seemingly little repercussion from the officials or the league, the news broke. Caitlin Clark was sidelined. With a left quad strain, out for at least 2 weeks. The Indiana Fever confirmed it after she reported pain following a loss to the New York Liberty. This wasn't just a shock injury in the sense of being unexpected. It was shocking because for many, it felt like a consequence that had been brewing for weeks. The relentless physical play against her, often bordering on excessive, was dismissed by many in the league as part of the game. But when your most valuable player, the one carrying the entire league on her shoulders, is being treated like a crash test dummy, that's not just part of the game, that's negligence. Stephen A. Smith, surely breaking a remote at home, must have been screaming, "Protect her!" Because he, unlike some within the league, understood that you don't let your golden goose get beaten up without consequences. The fallout was immediate, and it was brutal. With Clark sidelined, the WNBA is now doing its best impersonation of "everything's fine," while the actual product is collapsing faster than Angel Reese's layup, as Stephen A. famously quipped. The financial hit is direct and palpable. The highly anticipated rematch with Angel Reese? Gone. Multiple primetime national broadcasts? Kaput. Ticket prices for upcoming Fever games have plummeted, and entire sections of stadiums that were once selling out are now empty. This isn't just Indiana missing a star player, this is the WNBA losing its entire gravitational pull. Clark isn't just putting up points. She's the main reason people show up to the arena, turn on their TVs, and buy those overpriced jerseys. Take her out of the equation, and suddenly, the Indiana Fever looks like every other team desperately trying to stay relevant. The league's most valuable asset, the one who was pulling in 2.2 million viewers for a regular season game, the second highest WNBA rating ever on CBS, is now in street clothes. Sponsors are watching, networks are watching, and everyone knows what's coming, a precipitous drop-off in viewership that will starkly validate every one of Stephen A. Smith's earlier warnings. This absence isn't just a temporary dip, it's a glaring spotlight on the league's foundational issues. Remember the constant jabs from players like Angel Reese, turning every moment into a personal audition for America's next jealous teammate, focusing on perceived slights or questioning Clark's legitimate record-breaking achievements. It all fed into this narrative that Clark's success was somehow unearned or a fluke. While the veteran players often claimed, no league is about one player, Stephen A. countered with undeniable logic. If this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence proves it, then everyone needs to stand down and ride the wave. Translation: stop fighting it. Caitlyn is the show. Either get on board, protect her, elevate her, or get left behind. And for the fans, the reaction has been one of furious disillusionment. Social media is flooded with posts from fans pledging to boycott games until Clark returns. Many new viewers started watching because of Caitlin Clark. Why would they stick around when she's not there? Watching a WNBA game without Clark, for these new fans, is like ordering pizza and getting handed a salad. The excitement is gone. The flavor's gone. The thing that made it special isn't there anymore. This isn't just disappointing, it's malpractice. The league had lightning in a bottle. Caitlin Clark was that lightning. And now that she's sidelined, the storm's rolling in. The next few weeks won't just prove Stephen A. right, they'll define what kind of league the WNBA wants to be. One that protects and uplifts its stars, or one that watches them walk away while they still have a chance to save the game. The WNBA had its golden goose, and they treated her like a regular bird, allowing her to take beating after beating while hiding behind vague statements and toothless penalties. Stephen A. Smith has been the lone voice of reason in a room full of noise when it comes to Caitlin Clark. While others tiptoed around egos and clung to outdated narratives, Stephen has been calling it like it is. From the moment Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, bringing with her a wave of attention, ticket sales, and viewership the league had never seen before, he's been her loudest supporter. And why? Because unlike the jealous murmurs from some who acted like Clark's success was a personal slight, Stephen actually recognizes value when he sees it. There's real resentment out there, he said. And boy, has that become obvious. This isn't just about a twisted ankle or a pulled muscle. It's about whether the league is smart enough to recognize and nurture a once-in-a-generation star before. It's too late. Stephen A. knows what the WNBA leadership often refuses to admit, that Clark is the linchpin between the league's struggling past and its potentially explosive future. Without her, they're right back to begging networks for more airtime and hoping someone shows up to the games. Clark's not just a player. She's a walking marketing campaign, a highlight reel, a franchise in sneakers. And now she's out, and the bridge she built between women's basketball and the mainstream is temporarily closed for repairs. That's not just a setback, it's a full-blown crisis, a self-inflicted wound. After everything we've seen, the unprecedented viewership, the packed arenas, the explosive merchandise sales, all directly attributable to Caitlin Clark, it makes you wonder. Did the WNBA truly understand the magnitude of the phenomenon they had on their hands? Or did internal politics, misplaced resentment, and a baffling reluctance to embrace overt celebrity cause them to fumble their greatest opportunity? This injury, painful as it is for Clark and her fans, might just be the wake-up call the WNBA desperately needs. But will it be too late? The future of the league might very well depend on how they respond to this crisis, and how quickly they learn to protect, appreciate, and fully leverage the star power that defines their new era. What do you think about the WNBA's handling of Caitlin Clark? Did they fumble their biggest opportunity? What should they do now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of sports, celebrity, and why some golden opportunities just get dropped. See you next time.